So, continuing on my topic of being an empath and recovering from a narcissist, I'm still in the throes, maybe on day 2 of discovering this actually happened to me, despite the fact that I've read plenty of stuff about this with other people. And I should have seen the signs or at least understood them. But anyway, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. So, one of the things that is standing out to me as a sign that I didn't understand at the time, I thought I was just being very empathetic, was these guilt trips. There's these 2 things I did that hurt this person. One, like, I don't know, 30 something years ago, and then another one 13 years ago, right? And I did it, I mean, the one from like 30 years ago, I was like a teenager, so I don't know about why that gets held over my head, but it does. Because this person had some abandonment issues, but a couple of clues, actually. I was finding myself recently having a lot of anxiety, and I was processing this relationship more in terms of like attachment styles and recognizing his as an avoidant. And I recognized it because that's typically my attachment style. And in fact, that was my attachment style when we first got together. And it was his anxious attachment style that I was responding to when I hurt him. So this time around, I was experiencing an anxious attachment style, and I was trying to understand like how to deal with an avoidant and all of those different things. And my goodness, I was reading and taking tips and all sorts of stuff, trying to figure out how to manage the avoidant, right? Because I've never been an anxious attachment person. That should have been a clue to me, because I've never had an anxious attachment style in any relationship. I've always been more of the avoidant, sometimes secure, depending on the situation, but never anxious. And that didn't tip me off. I thought it was just the circumstances this time around. There were some very difficult things that he's dealing with, some very traumatic things. And so I thought, oh, okay, well, that makes sense that this is the situation that we're in. But now looking back on it, that should have been a clue. At any rate, one of the dynamics of our relationship is that whenever we are back in each other's orbit, he is constantly reminding me of these 2 things that I did, particularly the first one, but occasionally the second one. And why did I do this? And what's, all of these why did I do it? Why did I do it? And of course, I feel terrible. I feel awful because I know this person has abandonment issues. I understand why. And I feel terrible that like something I did however many years ago hurts him and has been carried through his entire adulthood. And it's something he's also experienced, I think, since me. So I think it's definitely a deep trigger and a wound, and so I feel awful about it, and very apologetic. And so anytime it comes up, I feel so like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like I didn't see you in that way, and I'm sorry I wasn't processing you through the right lens, and I'm sorry that I did that. This is probably what my thought process was at that time, not justifying it, but here are all the things that I've done since then, through therapy, through all sorts of self-awareness and work that I've done on myself, so that I don't do those types of things anymore. But the other thing also that I've been hearing and reading about, and again, I am not an expert, I am just like a smart woman that succumbed to like my only relationship kryptonite, which is a narcissist. The other thing I've read about is like that they'll say stuff like, you're really lucky that I've forgiven you for those things. No one else would forgive you for this. If what you did was so bad, the fact that I've forgiven you is, again, no one else would be able to do that. So then you get it in your head that like, oh, he's right. He's right. Like, I'm so lucky that he is forgiving me and he is giving me this opportunity to be in his space and his presence and to prove myself worthy and to show him that like, I'm not going to do those types of things, that I can be trusted. And so I just had a completely different belief or understanding of what was happening, that now I'm looking back and it's like, oh my God, it sounds like this happens to like anyone who's an empath with a narcissist, that this is actually like a very common thing that they do. So just sharing that example today, and also something else that I've done, and again, not a medical expert, not telling people what they should or shouldn't do, but something I've done that's important for me is to say it out loud, right? So I'm doing these videos, but I also finally kind of admitted it to a large group of people yesterday that like, listen, I just came out of an emotionally abusive relationship with a narcissist. And that's the first time I've said it out loud, because one of the other things that you tend to do is protect them. And you don't want to, you tell your friends or the people that you're involving in this, you tell them the good things. I was telling people that the only way this relationship would not work this time is because I was the one that would probably screw it up, because I'm the one that has caused hurt in the past. And that's not entirely true, but that's what I believed, and that's what I was telling people. So I kept sort of protecting him and saying that, like, basically I'm the one that could screw this up, because if he has a poor reaction, it's because I caused it, right? But I knew he was doing these things and saying these things and guilting and whatnot. And I was protecting him by not saying this stuff out loud or telling anyone about it. And also because I thought if I say these things, then people are going to hold me accountable. And what if I want him in my life? What if I want him to come back? Like, I can't, if my friends know about this, they're going to remind me about this moment in time if he comes back. So saying it out loud, being public, despite feeling embarrassed and ashamed of myself, it's important. It's accountability, because I worry that, like, with time, I may start to go back to like, oh, I was being unreasonable. I was misinterpreting this whole situation. It really wasn't a narcissist. It was me again. And I was wrong about everything that I saw. So I think sometimes getting it out, getting that shame out loud, and asking your people for support is important. And also, it is scary confronting someone like this, and I forgot how scary this is, because I did it 13 years ago, and I was nervous then. And it's when you figure these people out and you let them know that you see them in this light, like it's they don't like it. Not saying anything bad's gonna happen, because I doubt it, but they don't like it. So it's just, be careful. It's scary. I felt very resolute in confronting, because that's what I do. I communicate, I confront, and I move on. And then after, I was like, oh, what did I do? Like, what is he going to do with this? I don't know, but I blocked like every single possible channel back to me, and I just need to be accountable to keeping those things blocked, because I have been known to block him before and then unblock him months later when I've softened. So just whatever you have to do to help yourself, to hold yourself accountable, to keep yourself in this moment of realization so that you don't slip out of it, like whatever you got to do it. But again, you are a smart, amazing, exquisite woman who's just an empath and loves and wants to see the best in people. And that is not a bad thing, and that you don't need to change anything about yourself. It's just these people find you because you're food for their addiction. And perhaps you have your own addictive behaviors that you're also working out, and that's how these things happen. But Happy Friday, and no narcissists.